Tom Sandoval cheating on Victoria, all of James Kennedy's friends coming out and sharing old stories of him with me when he was dating Raquel. And Teddi Mellencamp has just been spotted with her horse trainer. So it's quite the affair today. I hope you're ready for it. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in. Look, I'm trying to make sure my hair has volume today. I want high body count. High body count hair today. Today, I say high body count all day. Hey. Yeah. I saw Jimbo over the weekend, guys. We had a very lovely day. Lovely, yeah, morning that turned into a day. But happy Monday. I mean, the news, from James Kennedy, right after they decide to cancel Vanderpump Rules, and then the OG cast just decides, you know what, we're just gonna do shots fired. You want to get popped? Let's go. You know, Monday started off at the bank. Well, it was also crazy because I wake up about 6 a.m., which is when Tom Sandoval decided he wanted to go on Instagram Live with a Coors Light and a cigarette. And I was like, oh, like it was just waking up this morning and seeing the Victoria's Instagram story, which we'll get into. We'll get into all of it in a second. But like just seeing the story, and I was like, oh, that story's not going to develop. We're going to talk about James Kennedy today, and then nope. Now I guess we're talking about James and Tom and Victoria and Teddi. Oy vey, mamma mia, here we go again. I guess let's start with Teddi, and then we'll get into Tom Sandoval, and we'll get into Teddi, and then we'll talk about Tom Sandoval, and then we'll get into the James stuff. But yeah, it's just what a weekend, what a day, what a start to the week. We went from like a couple weeks with like not like a whole ton of news going on or not a whole ton of tea, and then next thing you know it, all the reality stars were like, you know what? Let's just have a field day with it. Cancel Vanderpump Rules. Let's sleep with the horse trainer. Let's blast our relationship on social media. So, what a time to be alive. But let's start off with Teddi Mellencamp. So, Teddi Mellencamp was back on the horse tracks this week with her horse trainer. So I guess her daughter was her daughter had some sort of equestrian competition. Her daughter's Slate, so she was there for that, and so was the horse trainer Simon Schroeder. So there are photos that were published in Page 6 from the Image Direct, and we have a couple of photos of Teddi and the horse trainer, and it seems like they're friendly. They seem to, I don't know where, I don't see Edwin in any of these photos, nor do I see his wife. I don't know if his wife was there, but it's also kind of interesting. Like they're just together. They're just there, like amid the affair. It's unclear if they were like, now they're like exploring dating. We know that she's now going through a divorce with Edwin. She's staying with Kyle Richards. But do we think that they're just going to go into a full blown relationship at this point? They don't seem to be discreet about hanging out together. Granted, you're going to see each other at the horse tracks if you're the horse trainer, but I don't know. It kind of seems like there's a little thing, a little flang a dang dang, which I don't know. Are we happy? Are we sad? If she was in a loveless marriage with Edwin, then this is possibly a good thing that at least, well, I don't know. No, it's not. He had a wife who was pregnant and having a baby, and like, it's all very messy. She hasn't really talked about it. She hasn't really addressed any of it other than like what she said on the Diamonds in the Rough podcast, where she talked about living with Kyle and how she's trying to navigate this. And then she posted that thing of her working out on Instagram, and she had the Stronger song by Christina Aguilera. It's a little bit stronger, a little fighter. Thanks for making me wiser. So that's Teddi Mellencamp. That's the update. She's hanging out with the horse trainer. There's not a whole lot more to it other than Page 6 saw them on the horse tracks together. I don't know if they were, doing a little pitter patter in the stables after or during the breaks, but if there was, an intermission, can't say that they weren't, riding horses. You're on the tracks. What else are you going to do? But listen, whatever's going on, I hope she's able to resolve her situation with Edwin, finalize the divorce, and like just be able to peacefully move on. They do have young kids. I want to be respectful of the fact that they do have a family, but like I'm going to make a few horse riding jokes because, Teddi and Simon sitting in a horse stable. I don't know what rhymes with that, so I'm just going to stop myself before I lose the audience. Okay, should we talk about Tom Sandoval and Victoria Lee Robinson, because that is quite the adventurous tale that keeps on giving. And these two just sound very volatile. They don't sound like they're in a healthy relationship. But before we dive into that, I did want to give a shout out to my pals at Bioray. You guys know that I love Bioray. It's my favorite natural detox company. They keep me healthy. They keep my family healthy. I've been taking Bioray supplements for well over 10 years at this point. And they're having a very special promotion right now on their intimate kits. So if you have a little someone special in your life, customers who purchase either their For Your Flow kit or the Love Tonic kit will receive a free massage candle automatically included with your order. It's perfect for the season of giving or keeping, because you can keep it for yourself. This offer will run through December 31st, 2024. Promo does run until the end of the year, but it does not go into the next year. So if you want to spice things up with the Love Tonic kit or their For Your Flow kit, it's part of their intimate line. I know I've talked about the teens line. I've talked about one of my favorite products from Bioray is their Liver Lover. I also love their Thinking Cap. So you can go and order anything site-wide, get free shipping with code Zack at bioray.com. I like their products because they're revitalizing tinctures that you can just drip into your coffee, drip into your water, drip into your juice if you have kids or teens. And they just help you, empower your wellness, stay healthy. They have different kits as well as different tinctures that you can try depending on whatever your needs are, whatever your health goals are. You can try. They have a variety of different lines, but specifically their Lovers lines, their For Your Flow kit and the Love Tonic kit come with a very special gift, a free massage candle, so you can give a little sexy time, a little love in the club. So go to bioray.com, check out Bioray right now. You can also try their new Raise line. They have a kids line. They have lines for infants. So check out Bioray, health for the whole family, empower your wellness going into the new year. Bioray.com, use code Zack, Z-A-C-K, for free shipping. Free shipping, Bioray.com, code Zack. Okay, let's talk about Tom Sandoval. So Victoria Lee Robinson, who's his new girlfriend, she posted this last night on Instagram. And it's an Instagram story. And she put, "Wow, you guys were right. Tigers never change its stripes. He loves the best friends, apparently. I feel like a fool, completely heartbroken." And I'm like, what? Did he sleep with Kyle Chan? What is going on? Did he sleep with Tom Schwartz? What is going on? So it seems like she's trying to accuse him of cheating and saying that he likes the best friend. Who is the best friend? Victoria's best friend? Something seems to have gone down in Chicago, in Chi-Town. So they were just in Chicago. I believe it was the City Winery, and they had like some sort of like bingo night with Tom, or like maybe it was probably trivia night. I don't think he's geriatric enough to do bingo night, but anyway, he was, they were calling bingo numbers, and afterwards things seemed to go a little south with Tom and Victoria. I'm hearing they got into a fight and she ended up having to leave, or not having to, she ended up leaving Chicago early. And it was interesting because she's posting this thing on her Instagram stories that's basically accusing him of cheating. She's like, "Wow, you guys were right." Which, like, hello, what do you think? We fell out of a coconut tree? We've watched him on our television for so many years. And Victoria's like, "I don't know who he is. I've never heard of Tom Sandoval. I've never heard that name in my whole life. I don't know who this man is." Well, we told you who this man was. We warned you. We're like, listen, like, you don't even have to trust us. You can just watch the show. As Denise Richards said, watch the show. So she could have very easily just watched the show and seen all the mess that Tom Sandoval was enthralled in. And not only that, but he was just in one of the biggest reality TV scandals, okay? Scandoval. It had its own name. It had its own documentary. I'm sure there'll be a book about it someday. There's going to be a Hulu series down the line all about Sandoval. We'll see how that unfolds. But she trusted him. She believed him. She thought that he was going to be faithful to her to the end. And then he decided, oh, snap, snap, let's clap back. So she posted this in the middle of the night. And then this morning at 6 a.m. LA time, he decides he's going to go on the internet. He's going to go on Instagram Live. He's got a cigarette in one hand and a Coors Light in another hand. And he's just like, Victoria. I know everyone's asking me about Victoria. And so he says that she made a mistake by posting that. She made a mistake by thinking that he cheated, which, just like James Kennedy when he got arrested, it was just a big misunderstanding. What a coinkydink. So many coinkydinks going on these days with all these Vanderpump men. Who would have thought Jax would be the least problematic at the moment? We thought Sandoval was going to kind of dial it back. Nope. Getting messy. We thought James Kennedy was just going to stay the number one guy in the group. Nope. What does number one guy in the group even mean anymore? Does it just mean you're the worst in the group? Because Jax has held that title and now James is hold my beer, right? So I don't know. I was trying to dig up what happened or what the situation was. I haven't gotten full updates because he was just on Instagram Live a couple of hours ago. It seemed like his service was a bit spotty because he kept cutting out and the Instagram Live kept pausing. But he did say in the Instagram Live that Victoria had made a mistake. So I don't know if the mistake was that she trusted him or if the mistake was that she posted about it, or I'm not sure what the mistake was necessarily. Cassie in the live chat says, what was her account hacked? Probably. That's probably going to be, oops, I was hacked, guys. Sorry. Everybody's always getting I don't know how everyone's getting hacked these days. Maybe it's the drones that are flying all around the country right now. They're just coming to hack celebrities to, do things that they should not be doing on Instagram. You know what? I'm going to give it to Kathy Hilton because Kathy Hilton will own it, baby, own it. She'll be like, I'm on Rick's iPad. She'll be dropping fire emojis and then she'll be like, oops, I'm on Rick's iPad. Or she'll be like, Rick, it's Kathy. I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. Call me a plane. And she'll just be Kyle, call me. And she'll just be posting this all publicly on Instagram comments. And she'll be like, I didn't know what I was doing. She owns it, right? Kathy Hilton has never gotten hacked. And if there's anybody that's vulnerable enough to get hacked, it probably is Kathy Hilton, right? They're going to be like, Kathy, it's Paris Hilton. And she's like, Paris, you sound different today. And it's like, yes, but it's me, Mom. It's me, Kathy. Oops, sorry, Mom. I need $1 million. Can you send me $1 million in a private jet? Sure, Paris, I'll send it right now. Rick, I need your iPad. Kathy would totally fall out of a coconut tree and she would totally fall for a scam and accidentally send somebody $1 million. So for me, I would believe that Kathy Hilton would get hacked and she never gets hacked ever. If anything, she is pretty strong, good for her. But so anyway, Tom Sandoval, we'll see what happens, but he says that she just made a mistake. And so what they seem to have gotten into some fight. The Daily Mail also just released a report that says that they have a pretty volatile relationship. I wasn't aware that Sandoval was even drinking again, but I guess he was sober for the longest time. I guess somewhere that may have come across, and I just kind of shelved it in my memory as I was trying to move on from, reading anything about Sandoval, especially now that the show's over. But so Sandoval is oh, that's something separate. I was like drama, but literally something different drama, different day, different drama. But so I don't know. Do we think this? I wouldn't be surprised if Sandoval was cheating on her, or even if he wasn't cheating, but maybe there was he was flirting. He's like, "Ooh, baby, I have a band. I have a cover band. It's oh, it's so rad, man." And then Victoria saw that and she's like, what are you doing, Sandy Balls? Talking to my, do we think it's her best friend or his best friend? She said it's always the best friends. And she also said a tiger doesn't change its stripes, but isn't it a leopard doesn't change its spots? So she seems to have gone, well, she never seemed to be the sharpest tool in the shed, especially when she was like, I don't know who Tom Sandoval is, but let me ignore what everybody's saying about him and date him anyway. Yay. It was just a cuddle puddle. Oh, yeah, it was probably just a cuddle puddle, totally platonic. His finger accidentally slipped inside her. He didn't mean to. God, come on. God, man. Lightning bolts. Ooh, listen, I like lightning bolts. Once a cheater, always a cheater. So everyone really does believe that he was cheating. I think he was doing something risque. He was riding that line, right? He was kind of like people who like soak. Remember, we learned the term soak from Mormon wives that you can enter the front door, and then if you just stand in the front door without going in and out of the front door, right? You're not like exiting the house and going back in the house. You just kind of sit and stay in the house. Then you're not doing anything, right? There's technically no penetration. You're not penetrating the front door. You're just staying there and you're standing in the foyer. So maybe he was just soaking. Maybe he was just testing the water. He was checking the temperature of the waters. So he decided he was going to soak a little. I don't know. But was he shaking the bed? I don't know if he's shaking the bed, but apparently Victoria thinks that he is shaking the bed, and that's why she decided to leave Chicago early. I mean, from what I've heard about the relationship, it's not the best. It's not the healthiest. They seem to be drinking and they seem to be a bit volatile, and it just seems like bad news bears. Like, I don't know what's worse, because like Ariana's boyfriend, he's ugly. I'm sorry. I know some people are like, oh, he has a nice body. I'm like, yeah, but he's not attractive. Like, I don't know if I would rather deal with Ariana's ugly boyfriend or like the crazy toxicity of Tom and Victoria. Like, which one's and then people are like, why are you bringing Ariana into this? And why do you have to compare them? And she's thriving and she's doing amazing. And I love something about me sandwiches, something about her sandwiches. And I'm going to get a shit ton of negative reviews on Apple now because I brought up Ariana's ugly boyfriend. But literally, her boyfriend's fucking ugly, okay? Well, not my type, not my preference. Sorry. We all have different preferences, and he's not my preference. Cassie said Dan is not cute, just my type, not a fan. Yeah, yeah. At least Sandoval's cute, right? Like if I'm going to be in a cheating scandal, I'm probably going to pick Sandoval. Like Ariana's boyfriend, his hair is just kind of gross to me. You know. Cassie says, "I just left you a review on Apple. Thank you, Cassie. Is it mean? Let's see. Is it a mean one? Oh, wow. I was gonna say, wow, I got one from Christina Applegate, but no, I got an Apple review from Christina Angeline, and she says Zack tells it like it is. Snap. For anything pop culture, I go to Zack. He's a straight shooter and also funny and entertaining. He's great at explaining all sides of a story, and he's not biased or one-sided. And then Stefani727 says, nothing better. This is my go-to for reality TV news. Listening to Zack is like having a conversation with my best friend. Oh, and his singing. It's the best for my drives into work. See, who needs radios when you have me? Sorry, Sirius XM. Cassie, I don't see your review here, so I think you're a liar, but it's okay. I love you anyway. Marianne Stout says Tom moved into Victoria's house so he can sell his. Well, I guess now he's got no house to live in. He's going to have to move into the building with Schwartz and Jax. Can you imagine all three of them together? Oof. I mean, they're too damn old to be doing bachelor pad, You're too damn old to be like three. Like, it's cute when you're in your 20s and you're like, oh, yeah, bro, we all live in the same building. Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. And then now it's like, oof. I don't know. You know, I, 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 I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. Zack, not brand safe and being mean to the Dans of the world. I don't have a problem with Dans, but like, if they're not cute, like, I'm sorry, you know? The hair just doesn't do it for the hair just kind of like gross because it's like long and weird and stringy, because it's like shaved, but then like long. It's just like it's very strange. It's not my vibe. Muddy Gray says it's the new three men and a baby. I mean, yeah. So he's homeless, not toothless. That is true. He is homeless, not toothless. But hopefully, she doesn't knock his teeth out. Who's the one that was knocking? Remember when he punched Jax in the face? I was watching. Oh, Oh, that's an update on Toothless and Homeless. Brandy Glanville. She has her teeth. She has teeth again. Remember, she was like, I lost 5 teeth. And everyone's like, how did you lose 5 teeth? And she's like, I don't know. Bravo. And everyone was like, what? And then she was like, yeah, Caroline. When I was eating her out, I lost my teeth in her coochie. Like, nobody understands how she lost 5 teeth. But update, Brandy has teeth again because there was an Instagram story of this woman and she's just like, hey, I found your teeth. They were up Caroline's cooch and I'm going to put 5 new teeth inside you. Oh, yeah. Terry Dubrow. Yeah. He was asked about her lawyer. We covered that last week. Dan looks better than Muppet Mouth. You think Dan is hotter than Austin Kroll? Now that's where I draw the line. Austin Kroll is my favorite Muppet Mouth. You will never convince me that Austin Kroll is not a hottie patati, a hot tamale. Did she fix her face? Yeah. Okay. Well, it takes time to fix your face, and she hasn't. Wait, Zack thinks Austin's hot. Yeah. Austin is like, oh my God, Austin can get it all day, every day. How do you not find Austin attractive? He's like baby daddy, Does she still have the parasite though? I don't know. I just know they found her teeth. That's all I know is she has teeth again. She can chew. Toxic men are hot. Oh, they are. The more red flags, the better. Thank you, Allie. Brandy is a mess. That she is. Craig. Craig's fine. Zack likes red flags, though. Yes, I do. See, Billy says that Austin is hot. I wonder what Billy Lee thinks of all of this. I don't know. I remember she was like fighting with Victoria and they were doing shots fired and she was like talking about it on her podcast. She's very Billy is sweet. I know I was critical of her on Vanderpump Rules, but she's very sweet. She's been very sweet to me and she sent me a copy of her book and I'm going to say something problematic, so I'm just warning you right now. She sent me a copy of her book, but the book was like about like I don't know, don't offend my pronouns or something. And I was like, I was like, I can't. I'm sorry. I was like, I wish you much success. I wish you all the best. I hope the podcast is thriving. You're funny on your comedy tour. I hope you sell lots of tickets. I'm not gonna read the book. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a bitch. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a bitch, but I'm just like, I don't want like it was. I'm like, I thought we moved out of the woke era, but we're still there. Okay. So yeah, I think she stopped her podcast. Why? Because the book was going to be a hit. What was the title? Don't offend my. I don't remember what it was, but it was something to that effect, and I was like, oh, God. Oh, something about microaggressions. It was about microaggressions, and I was like, oh, okay. It's like, listen, everything is a microaggression. A microaggression is a very subjective term, and nobody really knows what it means, and I don't know. I like when people give me microaggressions because they usually tend to be compliments. And I'm like, why do we get mad when people give us compliments and now we relabel them as microaggressions? I don't know. Maybe I should read the book. Maybe it'll, help me fall out of a coconut tree. Michelle says, well, maybe that's why she sent it to you. That's probably why she sent it to me. She's probably like, listen, you probably need this book. And I was like, Donna says, I have a microaggression against you right now. And Brian says, I have microaggressions. Oh, he has macroaggressions. You do, Brian. You do. And we love you, right? We listen and we don't judge. Have you seen that trend on TikTok? We listen and we don't judge. I was going to do that trend with Andy from the Pop Report. I didn't realize you're supposed to lie, though. I thought that the whole point of the trend is we listen and we don't judge is because we're saying our confessions. But then I realized we don't say our confessions. We're not Usher. We're supposed to be saying lies and like trying to trick somebody else. And I was like, I was here ready to go start confessing. I was going to start singing like a canary. I was like, yeah, and I fucked your husband. I was going to be like, we listen and we don't judge. So, Laura says, I have micro shade. You also have some micro corny jokes, Laura, but it's okay. We love you. I'm shading everybody in the live chat today. All of our best members are getting shade. Shade, 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 booze, shade, booze. I just made a word prank TikTok, a work prank TikTok that I'm so proud of. Wow. Joe says, let's talk about Zack's fondness of Austin troll in your live today. Zack, we listened about you loving Austin and we are judging her. Why are you judging me for that? Austin is a cutie patoo. Like, don't you just want to make out with his Muppet face? Like, don't you want to be like, ooh, let me sit on that? No? I don't know. But so yeah, that's the update on on what's his face, Tom and Victoria. we'll see where that goes. But so over the weekend, let's get into James Kennedy. Over the weekend, James Kennedy decided that, or not, well, he decided that it was a good idea to go to, what was it, Milwaukee, and do his little DJ James Kennedy. And so he is out there living his best DJ life, no issues. But so I had someone that was in the friend group, two people that were actually in the friend group. And with them in there, they decided to just mention it all. Okay. And they were telling me about James's, I guess they don't know much about James's relationship with Allie, but they were telling me a lot about James's relationship with Rachel. And I have to say, I'm feeling a little differently about Rachel coming into this week than I was every other day besides today. Because and listen, I still don't really like her. I think that she has done a lot of questionable things and she is very thirsty and yada yada yada. But so anyway, there was this thing going around on Reddit. Let me see if I can um I'll pull it up for you because there was a lot that was going on. So there was this thing, or no, it wasn't on Reddit. It was on Instagram. And it was about someone and they were, oh, well, okay, I'm trying to like not out people. I'm trying to like think of how I want to talk about this. But I get, so there was somebody that went on Instagram and was talking about how Allie, after Raquel, when James was single, they were at one of Sandoval's shows and Allie was there, and how Allie had basically targeted James with the intention of trying to get on Vanderpump Rules. Like she was like, had full intention of trying to bang her, and her friend had like full intention of trying to like make that situation happen so that she can end up on the show. And yeah, I'm gonna get my friend Allie to fuck James tonight so that she can get on the show. And so it appears that that ended up happening, right? Allie ended up hooking up with James, and then they ended up dating, and then she ended up on the show. And so I kind of feel like both Allie and Raquel wanted to be on the show. They were just, that's what they had in mind. You have to think about it too, because I was talking to someone last night and they're like, do you really think like Allie's that kind of girl? And I was like, listen, people don't move to Los Angeles for no reason. They don't move here because they're like, ooh, I want better weather. Like, sure, that may be part of it. Like, the weather is better, but people don't move to LA and like pursue a career in entertainment because they don't want to be famous, right? And if there's an opportunity to get on a television show and help boost their Instagram followers, like, they're not going to jump at that, right? So it's tricky because I ended up finding out who this person was, and I talked to this person, and they were like, listen, it's dark and there are a lot more pieces to this, and there are so many things that this person, and well, actually two people now, have told me that they witnessed during James's relationship with Raquel that were really bad. And Raquel seems to be, or she was behaving similar to how Allie seems to be behaving, of just like, put my head down, and like, it's okay and this is normal, and you said that you're sorry and you're going to change and you love me. And I know I popped off. I did a weekend update that was published to the podcast on Sunday, and I like got really angry and frustrated because there are a lot of people around Allie and James right now. The people that I talked to, these two people that I got this information from, are no longer in their lives, but at the time they were very much like trying to get Raquel to like see the light and be like, that's not normal. What we just witnessed, what just happened right now, that's not okay. Your boyfriend shouldn't speak to you like that. He shouldn't treat you like that. He should, like, that is not normal. Like, you need to know that that's not normal. And I guess, based off of what they said about their, account of their friendship with Raquel at the time, they were just like, she wasn't fully understanding. She just was like, no, he just acts like that. And like, it's okay. And like, it's not okay. And like, now I'm glad that Rachel has seen the light and that she doesn't see that as a normal behavior anymore. I mean, and look at now, she's dating a really smart rocket scientist. She's no longer riding Sandoval's pocket rocket. She's out there riding the rocket scientist, and good for her. He's really smart, as Page Six told us. But it doesn't seem like the relationship, like, I'm starting to really believe all of these out. Not that I didn't want to believe Kristen, and not that I didn't want to believe Raquel, but it's like the things that they were saying, they would like dance around the subject, right? And they would allude to certain things, but they would never really get into it from, what I was seeing. Like, they would kind of be like, "Oh, well, James is really toxic," but, like, I didn't have these accounts where now I have third party firsthand accounts that witnessed these things that were happening, and they see the same pattern with Allie. And I think Raquel is somebody that wanted to be on Vanderpump Rules and wanted to be on the show, and that's part of the reason she ended up dating James, and part of the reason I'm sure she stayed with James for a while. Outside of the emotional abuse, I think she was like, "Well, this is helping my career. This is helping me gain what I want here in LA." And I think Allie's in that same situation because it's like if Allie leaves now, like, what is she gonna do? Like, she didn't move here to be an astrologer in Santa Monica. Like, no, she wanted something for her life, and at least she has James to help her with that. But it's interesting and it's sad and it doesn't feel like there are a lot of good people around them, and or if there are good people around them, they're not being very good friends in this moment. But Allie seems to be convinced that she's completely safe and she's totally fine and everything's okay, despite the police report, or sorry, the arrest log that came out that said that she told cops that he grabbed her and threw her to the ground. That was also part of the weekend update, was the release of the actual arrest record, where some people were like, "Oh, well, the neighbors were the ones that initially called and yada yada yada." And yeah, like, the neighbors called and said that they saw him grab her, but then now we know that the real reason he was arrested is because Allie actually told the cops that he grabbed her and threw her to the ground. And yeah, it's interesting because then I even saw people like defending him, like doing his DJ thing over the weekend because he was in Milwaukee DJing a party, and some people are like, "Well, he was probably contractually obligated to do that." But I'm like, even the venue. I mean, I guess the venue knew that like people would show up for him, right? Because he's on Vanderpump Rules, he's enthralled in Scandal, so very similar to like when people were showing up for Tom Sandoval on The Most Extras, like people were showing up to his show to like see, is he going to be there? What's it going to be like? Can I go and do my little TikTok after this and talk about what I experienced, what I saw, how, was he drinking? Was he this? Was he with a girl? Was Allie there? I think people go because they are curious. They're intrigued. And so listen, it was a packed house in Milwaukee. We'll have to see what happens, but it's not, yeah, it's not true. Yeah, it's all true. I've been waiting to tell that story for a long time, but I actually like Allie a lot. Ugh, it's crazy. Yeah. I just got like a whole bunch of text messages about it and just like things that they witnessed. Yeah, there was like a car ride to, yeah. I don't want to share too many of the details because I don't want to like out people. Um, but just know there's a lot. Remember Allie compared herself to Taylor Swift. Oh yeah, that was cute. She's very sweet, but like, you know. Jen Johnson says, "My man has been clean for 27 years. I know we wouldn't be together today had he kept drinking." It's tough. And I think James, definitely has an issue that he doesn't want to address. Lizzie says, "James's emotional instability is no different than it was in the beginning of Vanderpump Rules. He's just better at masking and manipulating." I agree with that. And I think a lot of people gave him passes and he never really had any repercussions, right? Like Lisa would take away his "see you next Tuesday" gigs, but then he would very easily get them right back. Brian says, "Oh, I'm 1 month California sober today." Oh, are you? Weren't we drinking at Schwartz and Sandy's? Um, after what was it? What did we go? Oh, we went to Campfire Show. Was that a month ago already? Wow. Interesting. Oh, congrats, Brian. I don't know what California sober means. I know it's like I'm not drinking alcohol, but I'm, doing math. Not you. I'm not saying you, Brian, but I'm just saying in LA, people are like, "Yeah, I'm sober. I just snort coke when I go out. I just pop pills and pop my pussy on the dance floor." I'm not accusing Brian of that. I'm just saying California sober is very it's just there's no real definition for it, and it's very subjective. It means you smoke weed but no alcohol. Well, that's what it traditionally meant, but now it means a lot of different. I know a lot of people that are sober, and I'm just like, "Oh, so you just don't drink alcohol, you abuse your body in other ways, you escape reality in other ways." But yes, I'm glad that you are on a good, healthy path, Brian. But yeah, it's just I don't know, the whole situation with James and Ellie does kind of frustrate me because a lot of people had reached out after, I guess, Sunday's episode of the podcast where I talked about like, if that were my friends, like I wouldn't just be like texting, be like, hey, checking on you. How are you doing? Like I would be like, no, I'm going over there. We're straightening this out. Like, what the fuck? You are not staying together. You're not living together right now. We'll work through it. Like, I don't care if I'm the bitch that oversteps and inserts myself into the relationship. That's just like, that's who I am. I don't know if that's the right approach or the wrong approach. That's just how I handle shit. I'm not afraid to insert myself into your relationship if I think that it is truly toxic and harmful to somebody that I care about and I love. And people are reaching out to me, and it really made me think. And I guess I don't want to say triggered, but I guess I'm so passionate about that. Listen, when I was growing up, my stepfather was a uh, really bad alcoholic, drank a lot, and he would get, I mean, I don't want to say violent necessarily. I mean, yes, he would. Like, not, he wasn't abusive in the sense where he would like hit anybody, right? But he would do really dumb, stupid shit. And I remember the fights that he would get into with my mother. He never like hit her. He never hit any of the kids. He never hit us. Like he didn't do any of that. But he would like. I remember him getting angry and breaking furniture and punching holes in the wall. And I just remember as a child feeling very unsafe in that environment and like wanting to call 911. And I remember one time they had a fight. And it was really bad, and I was really scared because even though he had never done anything to any of us physically, like, he'd never hit any of us, I was afraid that one day it was going to get to that point, like, one day it was gonna go too far, and I was never afraid for myself, but I was always afraid that he was gonna one day take it too far and possibly do something to my mother, and when you're a kid, when you're 11, 12 years old, like, that's, a really scary thought, and so I was always like I felt like I needed to be the one to protect her in some way. Even though at that age, like there's no way a grown man of his size in comparison to me. I was like a tank. I was a little thick. I was a chunky kid. I could probably try to tackle him, but like I was not winning that fight. But I do remember one time they had gotten into a fight, and I remember he was holding her in the kitchen. He didn't want to let her leave, and she just told me, "Run, get out, go to the neighbors." And I was like, in my head, I was like, I didn't know what to do. And I remember I ran out the back, ran past the kitchen, out the back door, and I remember running out of the house and just being like, I don't know what to do. I don't know who to go. I don't know where to go. Like we don't know the neighbors that well. And so I just remember standing in the middle of the street and just screaming at the top of my lungs, just like, help, help, help us. Somebody please come help us. And I was just screaming in the middle of the street. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to go to. And we had lived next door to his parents' house. So my stepfather's parents, they lived next door. And I remember his father coming out and yelling at me and telling me to get back inside because I'm only making things worse. And I just remember feeling so defeated in that moment and just like scared and like nobody's going to come and help us. Like nobody's going to come and save us. And I remember at that age, like I was telling people, I was telling my dad, I was telling my aunts, I was telling my grandparents, and we lived next door to his parents and like they never intervened. They never did anything. They never wanted to, they did not care about my mother. And by proxy, did not care about me or my brothers, So I think that's why I take it so seriously now because I wish somebody had intervened. I don't know if they did or how they did or what, but like I just remember at that age feeling so helpless and scared and afraid that he was going to do something that I don't take that stuff lightly anymore. And I didn't even think about it or connect those dots until I was thinking about it last night. Um, Sorry, I'm not getting emotional, but I guess there's like anxiety that I feel in my body right now. So I feel like my voice is getting a little shaky, but like I think that's why I got so passionate about it is because I don't like that situation. I don't like that stuff. And so I'm like, how is nobody there right now? How are her parents not there right now? How is nobody like in the middle of this right now? Like I just don't understand how people don't act on something like that. And I even, think about how like I shared I think last week on the show when the news first broke, how I remember having neighbors and they would fight and they would like raise their voices. And I remember hearing them throw pans around. And I even look back and reflect on that. I'm like, I should have I should have called security, the front desk, something. I mean, it only happened a couple of times, but a couple of times is more than enough times. Like we need to be acting on these things. We don't like that's how these things get out of hand. And every one of their fights, I remember growing up, every one of their fights just progressively would get worse and worse. I mean, eventually, to my stepfather's credit, he did end up, cleaning himself up, um, became a chef, did really well, or has, come a long way. And, I have a lot of respect for how far he has come, but it does not change what we went through growing up, which was not healthy and, was very scary. So yeah, that's kind of like where I get frustrated of like we keep giving James a pass. And I think, yes, we should encourage people to get better and give them the grace to grow and to get better, but also at the same time, we need to know when to like really intervene, and if nobody was intervening with Raquel and nobody seems to be intervening or like doing anything. Like we saw that Allie and James are still in the same house. I get it. He was in Milwaukee over the weekend, but I don't know. And just seeing the way his attorneys are like, we're gonna do our own investigation because there were no, marks found on Allie. So therefore we're gonna, look into the Burbank PD and see what we can find. And we don't think charges will be filed. And she doesn't seem to be cooperating with the cops. She doesn't seem to be wanting to press any charges against James. And it's just sad, you know? So, yeah. Lori in the live chat says, as a teacher, unfortunately, I had to call services many times and it's heartbreaking. I'm glad you did call though, like I remember telling so many people and like nobody did anything. And thank God everything ultimately worked out. But I look back at that now and I'm like, how did nobody do it? Like, how was I still going into that house? Like, how, I mean, and I can't imagine my mom's position, right? And I don't blame her, and I don't blame Allie, and I don't blame Raquel, and I don't blame Kristen. Like, I don't blame, the women in those circumstances at all. But I get angry when I'm like, but why is nobody protecting them? Why is nobody doing anything to protect them? That's what makes me angry, you know? There shouldn't be kids like me out there that feel more responsibility to protect a woman more than any grown ass adult that has the opportunity to go into that house and intervene, you know? I don't care if it fucks up the relationship. I don't care if it makes things uncomfortable. I don't care if things then become awkward, you know? I don't give a fuck about that shit, you know? You just don't know when things can develop further. And sometimes it can be unintentional, right? Like you can just have really bad fits of rage that one day just go too far. And that's not your intention. You don't want to do anything, but like, it can just go too far sometimes. I remember one time, my step, he was angry about something. They were in a fight, and he was angry. And I remember, oh, I think he'd been locked. She'd locked him out. He'd been locked out, and he was angry. And I remember him coming in, and he was kicking down the front door. And finally, he busted the door open. And then I remember at that point, I was like fed up, and I like remember yelling at him and telling him to stop it and to knock it off. And like I had stood up to him again. I don't remember how old I was, but I was definitely under the age of 18. Um, she left him when I was 17. So I mean, yeah, I had to have been at least maybe 12, 13 at the oldest. Um, but yeah, and I remember standing up to him, and that was the first time I ever, like, was really scared of him for myself. Because I remember he got in my face, and he, like, backed me into a corner, and I remember earlier that night, we had gone to Hollywood Video, which was, like, the knockoff Blockbuster, and I remember we got the movie. It was a DVD, and it was in the plastic cases, and it was Tower of Terror, and I remember, after I had stood up to him, I remember him backing me into the wall, or I guess kinda like the corner, of my brother's bedroom, and just, like, getting at like, wanting to intimidate me. I don't think I believed he would do anything to me, but, like, he very much, like, wanted to intimidate me, and he had his hands, like, over me like that, and I remember I had the DVD case in my hands, and I remember, like, lifting it up to, like, not protect myself because I didn't think he was gonna do anything, but I just remember him snatching it out of my hands and then crumbling it with his hands in front of me into pieces and drop it on the floor like that. Like, don't ever step to me again. And I remember in that moment, that's when I was like, "Oh, shit. We don't know when that day is going to snap." We don't like, if because that was the first time he'd ever done that to me, but it was also the first time I'd ever stood up to him. Um, and, like, I very vividly remember that, because then I remember looking down at the floor and thinking, "Oh, no, we're not gonna be able to, like, return the DVD now." And, like, it was just, your mind's not in, like, a normal place in those scenarios, but, like, yeah. Billy says, "I called 911 several times on my first boyfriend for beating his girlfriend. Girlfriend always refused to press charges. A few years later, he put her in the ICU." I mean, that's the unfortunate part, you know? But like I said, like, you know, my stepfather has come a long way. He's in a stable relationship now. He's doing a lot better. I don't see him very often. Once in a while, I'll see him, like when he picks up my brothers or something. And I don't want to shit on him, because he has come a long way from where he used to be, and I think that credit is due. But also at the same time, it doesn't negate the experience that I had growing up, you know? But I'm also not somebody that, like, lives in that, right? Like, I've very much forgiven him, and, like, we've all moved forward, and my mom has a great relationship with him now, and he's in a good place, but, like, it doesn't negate that these things did happen and that they still kind of live inside us, you know? But I'm glad and grateful. Did he ever apologize to you? No, he didn't. Not to m No, I don't think he ever did. Um, but, yeah, I didn't have much communication with him after he and my mother split. But, like, in a weird, twisted, possibly fucked up way, I look back at that experience and I'm grateful for it, just because it taught me, I guess, the compassion that I can carry now. And I wouldn't be able to see things through that lens now had I not experienced that before. And though I don't want anybody, and I'm very glad that, like, my brothers were very young at the time, that I don't think they remember much of that, because they were so little and they were babies at the time, that, like, I don't think they remember any of that stuff. Um, but listen, when you go through those hard things, you can either let them turn you into a victim and you stay, like, paralyzed in that state, or you can move through it and allow it to make you, hopefully a better person. Um, I try to be a better person. I'm not always perfect. I have my flaws, I have my moments, you know, but yeah. So hopefully things with James work out, and he's able to, if anything, I can look at my stepfather and be like, well, somebody with a lot of anger issues. And, again, I don't know what his household is like today. My brother lives with him and has not shared any of those experiences with him now, that, like, I have faith that he maybe does not have some of those same challenges that he struggled with back then. Um, so you can become a better person, right? He went to culinary school and became a chef and, like, really turned his life around. And he seems to be in a happy, stable relationship and bought a home. And so, you know, he seems to be doing well for himself. So, yeah. Lester says, "No way, Tom is cheating on Victoria. Didn't he move into her house? Did he sell his house?" I don't know if his house is sold yet, but she's accusing him of cheating, and he's saying she made a mistake. So I don't know what mistake was made. I don't know. Oh, oh, well, great. There's my, what is it? I know. People are like, "This is a lot. This is way too much for 1 week." And after Vanderpump Rules gets canceled, like, we could have totally kept the show going with all the Tom and the Victoria, like, you know? Mm, 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 mm. Okay, it doesn't look like there are any more updates that have come out since then. So we'll see what happens with Sandoval. He's out there ripping his cigarettes and drinking his Coors Light early in the morning, which tells me he probably didn't sleep if he's doing an Instagram live at 6 a.m. I don't think he woke up at 5 to meditate and have a cigarette. I think he was probably on a bender. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, baby. Hey, baby. Ah, is that normal? We just, like, revisit childhood trauma, and then we're just like, "Hey, baby, let's talk about Tom and Victoria. Let's disassociate. Hey, bye. Well, like I said, I am starting to see things with Rachel a little bit different. Course at 6 a.m. is a lot. It really is a lot. I mean, I guess like, if you were having a rough week and you have a 6 a.m. cigarette, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, man. Sarah says, I'm glad Vanderpump is over. I can't believe they want. I mean, it is kind of crazy. Zack, remember what your hair used to look like? When? Pick a time period. Remember what your hair used to look. I don't know what that means. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Are we giving me a compliment? Is this a microaggression? What's happening? A 6 a.m. cigarette. She's like, a 6 a.m. cigarette I can see, but a Coors? Yeah, 6 a.m. with the Coors. Straight out of the can. I was like, ooh, humor is normal after recounting trauma. I mean, we don't stay stuck in it. We listen and we move on. Have you watched the movie It Ends With Us? No, I haven't. I wanted to, though. I remember we covered all the drama with Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Somebody told me, I don't remember if it was like a comment or like an Apple podcast or DM or a review, but somebody said, they're like, Zack, you have really good recall. Like you can just remember things. And I'm actually surprised sometimes at like how much I can recall and like remember things. Lester says, I like your look, Zack. It brings out your great face. Thank you. I appreciate that. Coors is gross. I don't think I've ever had a Coors. Oh, it's on It Ends With Us is on Netflix? No, it's not. Wanda says, did you see the Jim Babe Jimbo last weekend? Yes, I was over his place on Saturday. Yes. I went over. We took a shower. We had fun time. He made breakfast. We watched Sex in the City. Because like he likes Sex in the City. I'd never seen it, but he put on the movie, the second movie. So we watched that and we took a nap and cuddles and yeah, and then I went home because I needed to go get the boys and take them to the dog park. Doing cardio. It wasn't a lot of cardio. It was a lot like slower and cuddlier, you know? The 3 dares were complete. I keep forgetting the 3 dares, Joe. They're so fucking confusing. Oh, one of them was like moist and the other 2 I don't remember. I always forget the dares, Joe. I'm sorry. They're very specific and complicated. It's not like show your tits, Cassie said, I saw it was just added to Netflix. It ends. Let me see if you're lying. It ends with us. Because if that's the case, then I definitely want to watch it. No, it's not on Netflix. No. You can rent it on Amazon Prime or you can rent it on Apple TV. It Ends With Us Netflix. Watch It Ends With Us. Really? It Ends With Us sequel latest after Netflix arrival. Wow, It Ends With Us dethroned by a new movie in Netflix's top 10. Oh, it came out a week ago and it was the latest #1 movie on Netflix. Wow. Interesting. It Ends With Us begins streaming now. Well, there you go. I guess that's what I'm watching today. Oh, wait, no. Okay. Everyone's like, Zack and Jimbo sitting in a tree, KISSI. No. Okay. Because there was tea and there was drama. And so I invited some of my gym friends over and we had wine by the fire. And I made a charcuterie board and ordered some pizza. And we had a tea spilling sesh because I was like, oh, there were revelations and it was like, oh, there was a lot, but I can't reveal it here. That's going to have to be like a members only or a disaster dater story. Every time we're getting close to a new season of having to tape a new season of Disaster Daters, I feel like my dating life just like organically starts to just light up. Like things just start happening. Stories just start fluttering forward. So yeah, that's where we're at. You know. So it's either going to be a members only story or I'm going to have to save it for the new season of Disaster Daters, but we shall see. We shall see. I want the tea, even if you don't like my joke. I didn't say I didn't like your jokes. I just said they're very corny sometimes, Laura. They're very bum. They're like dad jokes. You have like, 72-year-old dad jokes. The disaster date's just flocking to you. Like when I tell, like every time we get close to a new season of Disaster Daters, like it just, life just opens up. I love a charcuterie board. I do too. Let's hope this is a members only story. We don't want you and Jimbo to be he's not on social media. He's like so off the grid with that stuff that I'm not I'm not worried. Laura says, I'm offended. Well, I didn't say it to be offensive, Laura. I meant it as a microaggression. How do I get involved in the book club you talk about? It's available on YouTube memberships. I think we're going to do Heather Gay's book next. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you. Wow, I wasn't expecting to go this long today, but there was so much to talk about and to discuss, and I feel like we had such a good combo. All right. I love you. I appreciate you. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Monday. I will be back tomorrow with hopefully some new breaking tea, hopefully some updates on Tom and Victoria. So be sure to tune in. All right, guys. Love you. Appreciate you. Let's get it. Let's live life. Let's have fun. Let's keep women safe. All right. Thank you, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Give me a follow. Just when Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack. DC says you need your own late night show. I mean, this is kind of like a late night show. It just streams in the morning. Yeah, give me a follow. Yes, we did talk about Teddy Russ. That's what we started with. We started with Teddy Talk. Thank you for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Subscribe. Leave a nice Apple Podcast review. Show the podcast some love. I saw that we were number 16 on the Apple Podcast charts over the weekend. So thank you. Please keep leaving the reviews because it helps, even the negative ones. So haters can suck my dick. All right. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.